Welcome to the Fullerton Financial Show with the founders of Fullerton Financial Planning, Stephanie and Steve Fullerton, a program designed to empower you to live financially confident in retirement. From income planning and wealth management to healthcare, defending against taxes, and leaving a legacy. Stephanie and Steve share the strategies and insights you need to help achieve retirement success. This is the Fullerton Financial Show.
It's hard to see, can pose a threat to your future, and can rob you of what you worked for. No, it's not a thief, it's inflation. On the show today, we'll tell you why you shouldn't ignore inflation and how to combat it and live the retirement you deserve. Welcome, I'm Megan Mozak. I'm joined by Stephanie and Steve Fullerton, founders of Fullerton Financial Planning, located right here in the Valley. We'll get to that big topic in just a moment. Plus, do you have a plan for lifetime income? Later in this week's Fullerton Factor, Stephanie shows you an option to give you confidence your money won't run out in retirement. And later, we'll tackle some of your biggest retirement questions. Steve, Stephanie, great to be with you again.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Inflation. So it is very sneaky. It's like a thief in the night almost. Why is it something that tends to sneak up on us in retirement?
Well, I would say I consider inflation kind of like high blood pressure. You don't really pay attention to it. You can't really feel it, but it's got a huge effect. So it just kind of creeps in there, and if we don't focus on it, it can have a devastating effects, especially for fixed incomes and things like that, because we lose purchasing power with inflation, and inflation is a thing that's happening right now.
And it might not be something we notice when we're working, but Steve and Stephanie, you say this can hit retirees extra hard. Why so?
Well, they're not planning for it and they're not thinking about it. So Megan, if you take a look at, say your expenses, you're going into retirement are $4,000. And we know life happens. Okay, so we want to plan for that. But what a lot of people don't plan for is if my expenses are $4,000 today, do you know in just a little over 20 years, my expenses are going to be double that? That's just simple inflation. I'll never forget when my kids, when they were little, I would always buy the meal for breakfast with cereal, right? Put all the cereal boxes out. I'll never forget the time when I went to the store. The box was the same size. It was about the same price, not a lot more expensive. But when I got home and opened it, there was less cereal in the box. It's a silent killer. Like, it happens and you don't even realize it. So when it comes to retirement planning, we want to be prepared. We want to know that expenses are going to go up because simply of inflation. And that takes that out of the consideration about the what ifs. What if we need a new car? What if we need tires? What if we need a refrigerator? So we've got to be prepared.
And that's life, right? We're
Yes.
always going to need
Yes.
the new roof and the tires, as you mentioned. But isn't some of that accounted for in retirement, Steve, when it comes to Social Security and the cost of living adjustment?
Well, there is a increase in Social Security when they allow it. I've got some concerns about the future of Social Security as well. If you just look, in 15 years, there definitely could be some adjustments as what we're seeing and how it's funded and how much is coming in and how much is going out.
Well, look at the last 7 years. I mean, if you take a look at the last 7 years with COLA adjustments and Social Security, out of the 7, maybe 2 or 3, we actually had real adjustments in that. And here's the issue. It did not keep up with inflation.
Yeah, we'll have retirees a lot of times and go, hey, I got an extra $32 in Social Security. And I said, well, fantastic. You and your wife can go out and have a couple of Happy Meals.
Or Starbucks or
that's
something like that. You're right.
And that's about it. It's not making that big change that so many people need. And I think when you talked about cereal, Stephanie, that resonated with me as a mom. I think everyone can notice this maybe at the gas pump or when they're buying that gallon of milk, but sometimes you don't see it until it's too late. Let's talk about how it can really impact your lifestyle in retirement.
Well, you're going to do less. Okay, if you go, and just like Steve said, you go out to dinner and you used to be able to get the entree and the sides and the appetizers and the drinks, and now you might just be affording just the main course and that's it. It's going to affect the way that we live. And it does concern me. You know, when you think about prescriptions, if you think Social Security is not keeping up with lifestyle, really Social Security, Megan, was only created to take care of about 40% of your income. So we have to be very proactive, and we have to be about planning for our retirees to ensure that as they go into retirement, that they will have confidence that they're going to have that income there, that they're going to be able to, with layers of different ways to get resources of income, that we are going to keep up with inflation, that we don't want to do less. I've not yet met anybody, and Steve, I think you'll agree with me, that's come in and said to us, we can't wait to retire because we're going to do less. People are retiring and they are active. We're living longer. We've got to have a plan for it.
And inflation really hits people that are living on a fixed income. I mean, their dollars coming in really don't change, but then with inflation, you're losing purchasing power. So that can have a devastating effect on retirement.
And no one wants to downgrade their lifestyle in retirement. You want to live and go for it
Travel,
all.
right?
Yes, those bucket list items. And I know that's so important to so many of our viewers. We're going to keep this conversation going. It's a big topic. We have to account for inflation in retirement. So we'll continue in just a moment. Inflation is on the rise right now. It could spell trouble for your retirement. So how can you keep it from destroying your purchasing power in retirement? Stephanie and Steve explain that coming up next. And later, are you worried you'll run out of money in retirement? Stephanie says you have options to generate lifetime income, and she shows you how in this week's Fullerton Factor. Stay with us.
At Fullerton Financial Planning, relationships come first. Placing your trust in a financial advisor is an important decision. Finding that person who can build a plan that gives you confidence. We strive to help you fulfill your dreams and live the retirement you want.
Call us at Fullerton Financial Planning or visit us on the web.
It's about building a relationship with you, hearing your vision, and being with you every step of the way.
Welcome back to the Fullerton Financial Show.
Did you know inflation rose to 5% between May 2020 and May 2021? According to the Department of Labor, that is the biggest jump since 2008. So, Steve, Stephanie, it is clear inflation is very real. As you said, it could potentially stand in the way of our retirement dreams. Is there a way to plan around this or plan for it?
Yes, Megan, you absolutely can plan for it. However, I think it doesn't catch us by surprise when you hear that inflation is at a 5%, because for so many years we've kind of been waiting for it, and now we are beginning to see it. So we do want to plan for it. We want to have a very diversified portfolio, one that's going to not have all your eggs in one bucket and all your eggs in one basket. So we are looking at it and we are planning for it, because however we don't know how high it will go, we absolutely want to make sure that we've got some tools in place to help offset it.
So it has to be on our radar screen. When we're working, Steve, we get raises, we get bonuses. That helps offset any type of inflation we might see. Don't get many bonuses or raises in retirement. How are you helping work in a contingency plan for people in their retirement?
Well, you don't get raises in retirement unless you kind of create them yourself. And as a retirement planner, which is different than an accumulation specialist, as a retirement planner, you plan to be able to give yourself raises in income at different levels or tiers or time frames that can help hedge against that inflation. So there's a difference between planning for retirement than planning in retirement.
And I'll say one of the things that I think is important, even for those that are listening today and viewing us, is that it's very strategic to make sure that you could have as much as you can, but up to 5 different ways that you're going to receive income in retirement. And so here's one of those ways that we help hedge inflation, because we know that at one time not all 5 of them are going to be working together, but the ideal is that you've always got a few of them working all at the same time. So, maybe that's Social Security. Maybe if you're fortunate enough, you're getting a pension. Maybe you use annuities as part of that, or dividends, or maybe even life insurance as a living benefit or real estate. So there are different ways. So one of the things that we are really intentional about as we're working with our future retirees is to have 5 different ways of income stream so we can help offset in those periods of time that we are fighting and battling inflation.
So we talk about having a lot of different income streams. Are any of these income streams inflation proof, or can you create an income stream that can help you offset inflation?
Well, there is not an inflation proof strategy, but there are strategies that help with inflation. And that's why Stephanie talks about, those 5 different streams of income. We also like contractually guaranteed income. A pension is really an annuity. I'm fortunate enough to have a pension. I'm retired law enforcement. I have a pension. By the way, those are going away. Mm-hmm. And a pension is really shifting the responsibility of payment to a company to oversee it, where now the pensions nowadays are really 401ks, and they're shifting the responsibility away from the company to an individual. So we might use pensions or 401k as inflation and income, but we also use things that are contractually guaranteed as well. And there's some limitations on that, and they're not for everybody, but they're a great way to ensure that you have pension. Social Security, hey, you get a cost of living increase somewhat every now and then. Hopefully you get a cost of living from your pension, but there are different ways that we strategize using different income strategies to be able to provide a lifetime of income.
So that's good news. We do have some options. I know we have viewers nodding their heads here in the Valley, right, saying, I feel that pressure of pensions going away or being reduced. So income is so key, understanding where those sources are coming from. Clear that inflation has to be factored in. How do we find the right help? How do we know we're working with someone who understands you have to take inflation into account?
Well, you want to probably ask yourself one of the questions, is my advisor more focused on accumulation? Because there is a time that we can focus on accumulation. We're still working, we want that account to grow, and we have the bandwidth to see the markets go up or down because we have time. We're still contributing. So, that's the type of advisor that's going to be more focused on growth, maybe even dangerous in chasing the market. You want to be working with an advisor that is looking into the future, that's looking at inflation, looking at healthcare. Those costs are raising. Watching out for taxes. How are taxes going to affect your retirement? And then, of course, every foundation is income in retirement. So if your advisor is sitting there talking to you about healthcare and inflation and taxes and income, you know that you're working with an advisor that's going to be proactive in retirement. But if your advisor, Megan, is more focused on what can I sell you or what can I put you at or how are we going to chase the market, and you're within 5 to 10 years of retirement, you should be calling us because you need to be sitting down with a retirement planner.
And I know you offer a second opinion service.
Absolutely.
At Fullerton Financial Planning. Good time to take that into consideration. All right, Stephanie, Steve, thank you very much. Coming up next, how to create that income stream you can't outlive. And later, we'll answer some of your biggest questions about retirement and finances. Stay with us. The Fullerton Financial Show continues after this.
You have a club for every scenario. A driver for the long holes. Wedges to get you over the hazards. And a putter for when you need a touch of finesse. What about your retirement? Will you have enough to play the back nine? Call to set your 15-minute phone visit today and let's find out. Get a second set of eyes on your retirement plan. You're watching the Fullerton Financial Show.
You're ready to retire, but you're wondering if your money will last as long as you need it to. How can you be sure you won't run out? Stephanie shows you in this week's Fullerton Factor.
Thanks, Megan. Annuities. You may have heard a thing or two about them. With all the information out there, I thought it was important to get the facts straight about this financial product. So today, I'm going to dive into the type of annuity called a fixed indexed annuity. Now, you know, there's a lot of people these days that are newly retiring. They're very conservative investors. In years past, they could have put their money into a CD, get a high rate of return, and you might even recall those days back in the 80s where CDs were earning nearly 18%. But you equate that to today, where we're only maybe averaging 1.5, if we're fortunate, maybe even 1%. You know, in years past, you could get a CD, make a high interest earning, and we just can't do that anymore. In fact, that was part of the three-legged stool that we used to live off of in retirement. So today, I want to look at why I think it's important to understand the advantage of indexed annuities and how and why they might bring some substantial benefits to your portfolio. But first, let's lay out what is a fixed indexed annuity. It is where we look at an underlying index. Where you put your money into is this fixed indexed annuity. And it's very important to understand that you are not directly investing into the stock market. The insurance company is going to typically guarantee principal protection, very important. Also, what they're going to do is potentially give you a portion of the upside uptick. So what is it? When the market gives you the opportunity without the market risk, meaning when the index goes up, you're going to participate in a portion of that benefit. But here's what I really like about the indexed annuity. If the index goes down, meaning the market declines, you carry no risk in that. So essentially, what you have is an insurance company carrying the risk and you having the opportunity to make more than just 0.5% or percent in the bank, for instance. So I want to focus on a few benefits of the fixed indexed annuity. Number one, what are the strongest benefits of the indexed annuity is safety of your principal, meaning no risk of loss due to market volatility. Number two, an indexed annuity can provide contractual guarantees so that you, as the client, cannot run out of income during your lifetime. And I want to remind you, when it comes to retirement planning, there is no retirement without income. It's an incredible strategy that's going to offer you contractual, guaranteed income in retirement. Number three, there's a lot of benefits that I could focus on. But one I really want to focus on right now is that what we call the enhanced death benefit. So when you pass away, your beneficiaries have the ability, in some cases, to receive even a greater return than just the average return on an indexed annuity. And I really love this about them. Even if you need home care or nursing home, and I know a lot of us don't want to think about that, but here's the reality. Over 50% of us watching this at home today will need some type of provision when it comes to home care and nursing home. So some indexed annuities can provide that benefit. The bottom line, indexed annuities provide us with preservation with upside potential, lifetime income guaranteed, meaning you're not going to run out of income in your lifetime. To me, that is a huge benefit. Why? Because it gives you confidence going into retirement, and it can give you an enhanced death benefit, protection on nursing home, and home care. Here's the question. Is a fixed indexed annuity right for you? It depends on your dreams, your goals for retirement. I would love to have a chance to sit down with you. Our team here will look at your circumstance. We will customize it for you, and we will ask the question, is it right for you? All you have to do is call the number today or visit our website, and we will find out, does it make sense for your circumstance? Megan, back to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Up next, get answers to your retirement questions in our Q&A segment. Stay tuned.
For our generation, we've always known that a hard day's work is its own reward. It's something our parents taught us long ago, and it's something we hope continues for our family. Honest work has always been a part of our lives. So for some of us, it's hard to turn off that work switch in retirement. But imagine what can happen when that work switch becomes a life switch. Look at the day that's ahead of you now. 8 hours of your energy, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, and with whomever you want to be with, at whatever pace you like. And then you realize a nice day in retirement is its own reward. At Fullerton Financial Planning, Stephanie, Steve, and the team can help turn a work switch into a life switch. They can develop retirement strategies to help work days become life days and create a plan for the retirement years ahead.
Welcome back to the Fullerton Financial Show.
Time to get to your questions now. Steve, Stephanie, ready for this?
Ready?
Yeah. All right. I like this part of our show. Here's our very first question. It's from Rose in Peoria. She writes in and says, I'm worried about taxes when I retire. I've heard you mention using life insurance for tax-free income in retirement. Does that really work?
So I would love to have the opportunity to sit down with Rose, because I think this is one of the hidden secrets that many advisors are not talking about. And yes, to her answer, you can actually take a life insurance, and not all life insurance. You want to make sure you're using the right kind and being, put in the right direction. But you can take a life insurance and actually begin to take loans off that death benefit and use it as a living benefit. In fact, Steve and I are using this strategy even as we plan out for our retirement. So one of our sources of income stream that we plan on having in retirement is utilizing the death benefit off of a life insurance, which, by the way, the IRS in the code says it is tax-free, the death benefit. So that's why I'm saying we take the loan off the death benefit, we begin to use that as a source of income, and as long as there's money in that death benefit, you are able to utilize that as an income stream, and it's tax-free. It doesn't go on your taxes. So again, taxes are going up, Rose, so give us a call.
You had me at tax-free, Stephanie.
Right.
That seems like a really interesting strategy.
Yes.
Okay, good question from Rose in
Yes.
Peoria. Our next question is from Rick from Phoenix. He says, my wife recently passed away, and I'm wondering if I need to think about being more conservative with my money. How do I figure out if there are better places for my money that keeps me from taking too much risk?
Well, first of all, I'd say our condolences to Rick. That's no fun. But absolutely, it's a time to re-evaluate a situation with a new normal. We do that on a regular basis for everyone, but our clients as well. When somebody passes, that's a time to sit down and go, okay, let's let the dust settle a little bit, and let's reevaluate a current situation to ensure we haven't got too much risk. I'm going to tell you what, it's concerning and scary oftentimes when we sit down with people and we talk and hear about what their comfort is with risk, and then when we do an evaluation to see actually the level they're at risk. It's more times than not significantly disconnected. So absolutely, it is the appropriate time to sit down and to ensure that you're on the right path with a new normal. And we do that all the time.
And I would say also to Rick, he's probably not even thinking about it, because if you look at statistics, they would say probably Rick's expenses are going to go down about 27% now that he has lost his wife. But what most people do not realize as they do lose a spouse, whether it's, through a divorce or through death, is that actually you are now following different as far as Social Security is concerned. Megan, there's a great potential that even without Rick doing anything, just living off of a Social Security, now maybe there's a pension, maybe not, that his taxes could actually increase instead of decrease. So this is an important subject to Rick. There's a lot of factors to look at, and it's about having a plan and knowing what to be prepared for.
You called it that new normal, navigating that. There's a lot to consider here, really important insight. Our next question is from Margaret in Mesa. She says, my husband and I would like to retire in the next 5 years, but aren't sure when's the best time to start taking Social Security. Can you help with that? I know you get this one a lot, right?
Boy, I would say a couple concerns that we have. Will I be okay? Do I have enough money? Will it last? And it seems like all the time we're addressing Social Security. You know, I think a lot of people have this misconception that it's just a cookie cutter. If I take it at 66 versus 70, you know, there's a difference in there. And we could say, okay, if you took it at 66 versus 70, you have to kind of get close to age 90 before there's a break even. But what's really interesting is actually when they come in and we will begin to customize the Social Security, people are shocked at it. Really, wait until longer isn't necessarily always the right answer. What we want to do is take a look at it and say, should we take it a little bit earlier, or does it make sense? Do you have 2 Social Securities? Do you have one? So there's not like a just a black and white answer here. We want to customize it. So we take the time. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at the numbers and then make a good, educated decision on how and when to take Social Security.
Customized for them.
Yes.
Which is the key
yes.
here. All
yes.
right. Next question and last question from Tim in Chandler. He says, I watch your show and I hear you talk about having more than one place to get income from in retirement. What do you recommend?
Well, our recommendation is, if possible, creating 5 different independent streams of income so they don't rely on each other. And I use my hand. We take a look at Social Securities and identify maybe a pension or things like that. And if possible, we like to create a couple of additional streams of independent income. And if we can hammer out that income stream, then the market's doing this isn't going to affect our lifestyle, and that's really how we want to live it out. We always want our money to make money, that's for sure. But we're more concerned, and what we find with the people that we sit down with is they want to ensure that they have the lifestyle that they want inside of retirement. Mm-hmm. And I'll also tell you this, inside of retirement, there's really the go-go years, the slow-go years, and then the no-go years. So when we're able to help out with that income plan, we like to use contractually guaranteed also for the majority of it. But when we develop that income plan, then they can go, and then when they slow down, they're okay too. And when they no go anymore, they're going to be okay also.
Challenges in all 3 of those phases of retirement. We talked about a lot today: inflation, taxes, income, covering so much. I always learn a lot from the 2 of you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Megan.
Stephanie and Steve. Mm-hmm. And if you have a question for the Fullertons, you can submit it, and we may just answer it on a future show. If you want to know how to generate that lifetime income we talked about today, or maybe reduce your tax bill, maintain your lifestyle in retirement, reach out now to start planning for your ideal retirement. For Stephanie, Steve, and the team at Fullerton Financial Planning, I'm Megan Mozak, wishing you a healthy and happy journey to and through retirement.